الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد إن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الحديث حديث محمد وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثات بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Indeed, all praise is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We praise Him, we seek His help, we beg for His forgiveness. We seek refuge with Allah from the evil within ourselves and the evil consequences of our evil actions. Whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides to the straight path, no force in the universe can misguide this individual. Whoever Allah lets to go astray, no one can guide them back except Allah. I bear witness and open testimony that there is nothing, no one worthy of any act of worship except Allah Rabbil Alameen, free of any associates, partners, and I bear witness and open testimony that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his slave, servant, and final messenger. And by making this testimony, this would automatically include all the preceding messengers that came before Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, including Isa, Jesus, Moses, Abraham, and all the other countless messengers that came with the same message. Worship the Creator, not the creation, and do good deeds. Prepare for the Day of Judgment. Now, in the context of Islamic history, what do these dates have in common? I want you to think for a second. 661, 648, 641, 629. These might just be numbers to you, but these are powerful times in history. These are powerful times in history when giants of Islam, they took up the call. You know, when these people accepted, and I'll mention their names in a second, but when they accepted Islam, they didn't just stop there. They continued to learn Islam, and what's naturally, when you learn, you grow. And then when you start to grow in Islam, you live Islam, you start to love Islam. And naturally, you're going to want to, what? Share Islam. Take, for example, Iqba ibn Nafi. Subhanallah. Look at this giant of Islam who took Islam to modern day, where we have Tunisia, Morocco, Libya, all of North Africa. So much so that he was empowered, that he would have kept going, but he hit the Atlantic Ocean. And if you can imagine in your mind, pulling back on the reins of the horse, saying, Allahu Akbar, God is the greatest. Allah is the greatest. Say, Ya Allah, if this ocean wasn't here to stop me, and if I can get to the other side, I would continue on with this message of La ilaha illallah. There's nothing worthy of worship but the Creator, Allah, and Muhammad is His messenger. Look at that motivation. What motivated a person? And that's at a time when we didn't have the Cadillacs or the Mercedes, the nice, comfortable rides. This is horseback, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is horseback. Take for another example, Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, China. Can you imagine now? You have 1.5% of the population there is Muslim. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas took it upon him and the other Sahaba, and they went there. So now we have one of the oldest mosques in China. Because someone, what did he do? He knew Islam, lived Islam, and loved Islam. And when you love something, what do you want to do? You naturally, you want to share because you care. So they cared so much about humanity and this love for their Creator, and they went above and beyond. Let's take for another example, Ahmed ibn al-As, all the way to Egypt. And the interesting thing about Ahmed, he was one who was fighting against, he was alongside with the Quraysh, and he was an enemy to Islam for a long time. For a long time he fought in many battles against the Muslims. And later, he ends up being conquered, his heart ends up being conquered. And he accepts the submission to the Creator, not the creation, Islam. He accepts it, and he starts to live it. And he is the one, when the Prophet ﷺ was taking a pledge from the people who were coming into Islam, and he pulled his hand back. Because he knew all the wrong that he did. He made a lot of mistakes. And we learn from this, he said, well, why did you pull your hand back? Oh, Messenger of Allah, I have a condition. What's the condition? And we know when someone enters Islam, that all of their previous sins, whatever they did in the past up until that day, they're like a newborn baby. When they testify, La ilaha illallah, there's nothing worthy of worship except the one who created me, the one who made me. In Arabic, Allah. In English, God, the Almighty. Nothing. I'm not going to worship a man, a woman. I'm not going to worship anything in creation. And that's why we excuse ourselves in this holiday festival time. We have a great opportunity to go ahead, and I want to touch upon this for a second, to give dawah. People are saying Merry Christmas, holidays, cheers. And that's, for us now to be on the best manners and character, but to politely excuse ourselves for getting into any of these holidays. But it's a great opportunity to express our love for Jesus. Right? You can't be a Muslim unless you believe and love Jesus as what? As a God, as a literal Son of God. He didn't call himself God, nor did he call himself to worship him. So why would we want to worship him? Huh? So when people understand that there's a whole chapter named after his blessed mother, Maryam alayhi salam, Mary, and we love Jesus, but nowhere did he say to call him to worship him himself or his mother as a God, and we excuse ourselves. We say, God bless you, have a happy holiday, because the best blessing, right, that someone can have is what? The guidance from the Creator. God bless you. So kind and merciful people. It's like asking the Hindu, the Hindu, they worship the cow. It's, many of you might be from there, you can go to jail if you have the beef burger, right? So now, how are you going to have the Hindu to celebrate Eid? And you're sacrificing maybe the cow, right? It doesn't make sense. But but there's that understanding now that people have their holy celebrations. We don't have to now, many Muslims, just to be, as the Prophet ﷺ had said, that my ummah, there will come a time that we will end up following those before us, handspan by handspan, inch by inch. So much so, if one goes into a lizard hole, now he's going to follow. So if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So people respect that. When you stand, doesn't mean you put someone's religion down, doesn't mean that you put a people down, but it's a great way for you to go ahead and to talk and to express your beliefs on why you don't celebrate something like Christmas, and to flip it now and to show the deep love. It's not out of disrespect for Jesus, because many people take him as a God, but we respect him so much that we don't believe God had a birthday. God doesn't become born. Doesn't have children. He doesn't have daughters. He's not like us. He's unique. And that's that message of Qul Huwa Allahu Ahad. Say he is God, the one and only, the absolutely eternal. He begets not, nor is he begotten. And there's nothing like God. You see? And it opens up a great door. And at the end, there's a mutual respect. There shouldn't be no hard feelings because someone doesn't want to celebrate Eid. Why are you going to force someone to celebrate? Just like now people are going to go out of their way to try to appease and try to, do things that maybe definitely going to anger the Creator, Allah. So, going back to another Sahaba, Malik bin Dinar, modern day India. Right? Subhanallah. These were the giants. Look at that. They didn't just stop there. They continued on. They continued with the legacy. What? Again, because they learned Islam. All right? They had the knowledge. Not just the knowledge. You have some university professors. They'll teach Islam. But there's no action in it. It's not from the heart. And then what? It's not worth nothing. So you truly come to it with your heart. You understand it. And then you start implementing it. You start implementing, right? What the Creator told us to do. And then what happens? You grow. You start to love Islam. And then you teach it. And that's what they did. That's that example that they now have shown us in the legacy that they left behind. Now some people might ask, what motivated them? And what should motivate me? I'm going to just share a few. We can give dozens, 20, 30, 50, it's an endless amount now that you can go on with the reasons, but I'll just give you a few. In the Quran, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Look what Allah is saying. Who is better in speech than the one who calls to Allah, does righteous good deeds, and says, I am of those who have submitted to my Creator. So when they heard this, they said, man, what's the best business I can be in? What's the best speech? It's a rhetorical question. There is no better speech than when you are upon good moral conduct, and now you're calling people to what? To Tawheed, to pure monotheism. That connects with the heart and the soul. There's no better job. So that's the second example. And that's something very important for us to realize. When a person has a job and he has a product he wants to sell, she wants to sell, usually you act in the most pleasant way, don't you? Right? When you're selling something and that has to do with dunya, maybe you invite the person to your house, you take them out for lunch, and you're not angry with them, you're not being belligerent with them, you're being very pleasant. Is that correct? Good manners. What about when we're sharing something? Because it's not our job to convert anybody, but it's to share. Because you care. And because you're taking the call from Allah. Because there's no one better in speech than the one who calls to Allah. So the same way you were trying to share something, a product from the dunya, what about the deen? What about the deen? Something to really reflect over. How we should be when we are presenting the deen. And being ambassadors to it. Now, Allah also tells us in the Quran in chapter 16, verse 125, "Udu ila sabili rabbika bil hikmati wal maw'idati al hasanati wa jadilhum billati hiya ahsan." Invite. Don't force nobody. Invite to the way of your Lord with what? With hikmah. And beautiful preaching. And argue with them in ways that are best and most befitting. Again, they understood this, and they went out and they did this. Are we doing our best to implement these ayahs in our lives? You want the best job in the world? What's the best job? Just look at the best of Bani Adam. Who were they? The prophets and the messengers. Case closed. It's done. And what job did they have? Why did Allah send them? Why did He send Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Why? For da'wah, for inviting. and it's up on to the people if they want. That brings such a relief to an individual, because you can drive yourself insane, because the message is so simple. Worship the Creator, not the creation. Do good deeds. Live an upright and morally upright life. You're going to make mistakes. There's a day of judgment. You're going to be accountable. But Allah is the most loving and merciful. Do your best to obey Him, to obey the messenger that He said. You got Jannah. You got paradise. It's not hard to understand. For some people, they want to worship a stick, a stone, a bone, a dead person in the grave, a messenger, a saint, the sun, the moon, everything in creation, but they forget about the Creator. And what are you going to do? You're going to drive yourself mad? No. It's just your job to convey. As the Prophet ﷺ said, convey for me, even if it be what? How many ayah? 10? The whole Quran? Half the Quran? Just what? One ayah. Qul hu Allahu ahad. Look, Allah made it simple. So this is the best job. And this is the reason they were sent. Tawheed, that pure monotheism. This is the greatest thing you can call someone to. And the greatest thing you can call someone away from is setting up partners with Allah. Now the prophets, they were like shepherds. And many of them, they were shepherds. So you can imagine now, in your mind, where you see them being trained in this way to bring the sheep. When the sheep would go away, the flock, the shepherd comes and brings them back, keeps them under control. So you, as the Prophet ﷺ said, that each one of you are a shepherd, and he talks about in your family. And now also imagine now that you, as people are going away from Deen, going away from Allah, you have an obligation. You have a responsibility to help bring back people to the right way. It's a reason that you are the best ummah. You're the best ummah. As Allah says in the Quran, chapter 3, 110, كُنْتُمْ خَيْرَ أُمَّةٍ أُخْرَجَتْ لِلنَّاسِ تَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَتَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ وَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ. You are the best nation raised up for the benefit of mankind. You call to what is good, you forbid evil, and you believe in a God, in Allah. And you do righteous good deeds yourself. So this comes with a responsibility, brothers and sisters. You can't be called the best nation, but you don't invite to that which is good, and you don't try your best to advise, call people away from what is evil. Again, advise. Calling to in a polite, in a nice way. You can't change some things that are out of your control, but you still have a moral obligation to stand up against injustice, to speak out against evil. Because what happens? Then you become the silent majority, and that's how evil spreads. So brothers and sisters, this is, as we see, incumbent. It's something that is to the best of your ability. And when you go to work, I don't think anyone's going to have a job if they don't produce. If you don't produce, what at the end of the day, it comes down to what you bring in, how much. But Allah is not going to rate you on that. It's how much you put in now. Not the results, but how much did you give for it? How much did you strive? Your effort. Allah just wants to see you give it your best. But are you giving it? Are we giving it our best? We know that, especially in today's day and time, 99%, it's so much more, it's a necessity. Because people obviously, they fear what they don't know. So when they don't know you, they don't know their neighbors, they don't know the Muslims, then naturally you have the opponents of Islam manufacturing this hate and this fear. 99% of hate crimes, let's take one example, are up in the last couple of years, according to the latest reports by the FBI. So hate crimes, and what happens when hate crimes go up? You have people bombing masjids, firebombing them, throwing bricks through windows, sisters getting attacked, right? People uttering very hurtful hate rhetoric. And this leads to violence in many cases. But we have so many examples when people, when they are invited in the masjid, when they come and connect, they make the human connection, and you're able to answer their questions. The basic questions. Because You've been vilified. You've been made to look like the other. Like your blood is cheap now, right? You're less of a human being. But when you make the human connection, you have an open house, you invite your neighbors, you discuss, you answer. Person's in the back, maybe you're a cab driver. You give them a flyer. You'll be surprised because Islam connects with the heart. It still continues even through all of this Trumpophobia, xenophobia, all of this phobia, hate rhetoric. Islam continues to shine and grow. It's a stock that will never stop, with you or without you. So even with all of this hate rhetoric, it's more necessary that people get to know us. Not that we change our name from Muhammad to Mo. You start hiding your identity. Again, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Now is the time to really be proud that you're a Muslim. You have a great time, a great moment in history to really make a difference, as the giants of Islam that I mentioned earlier, those examples, they did. Imagine a company that you have a company and it has representatives. So this, in your mind, you have, for instance, Islam is the company, but now you guys are the representatives of this company. But obviously there's going to be people, opponents, there's going to be the competition. So you have a lot of competition now out there who's distorting the truth. And all you have to do is to bring the truth to them. And you'll be surprised. Amazing things happen. With the little bit that you know, the little facts that you share, are eye-opening. And just that human connection, when you live with people, it's so powerful. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Another thing that's very important, we know Islam has the solutions. Solutions to the racism problem. Islam has the solution to all the sexual harassment that's happening. If you implement the injunctions of Islam, you'll see that many of these things, it will solve these problems. The problem of suicide. Every 14 minutes someone is killing himself. The problem of intoxicants, drug abuse. The problem of the pain in the hearts and the souls. Islam has the solution. And another thing is, I want to also focus on the epidemic of health and chronic diseases that are a growing epidemic. There's 100 million, not 100,000, 100 million people with diabetes or they're pre-diabetic. They're on their way, and the sad thing is, of these 100 million, many are headed towards diabetes. They don't even know it until they have it. And then they go to the MD, more drugs, and that's what you get, more drugs, right? Then you got to take another drug for this drug, and then on and on and on. Then you have heart disease, obesity. 70% of people are obese or overweight. It's a growing health crisis. The Prophet ﷺ, what did he do? What did he say? He said, the two things that people take for granted the most, it's going to be what? Free time. A lot of wasting time. We're wasting a lot of time. And what? Health. He said, take advantage of 5 before 5. One of those will be what? Health. Your health. Don't wait for the sickness to come, and now you're chasing the cure. Right? We have an event. Dar-Alhijrah, 5 minutes from here. Imam Faisal, on Thorndale and Maplewood. If you guys don't know, I'll give you the address afterwards. I'm trying to create some awareness of this. Because many people, they can't distinguish what's real food, the tahibat. Allah made so many good foods, right? But also we have a big industry of fake foods. Fake foods that are contributing to the growing crisis that now is destroying Many even, not just adults, but kids who are not expected, the first generation not expected to outlive their parents. So we're going to be talking about some basic things you can do, because it all starts mainly from the gut, what you're putting in. Allah didn't make a garbage can, but we're putting garbage in our bodies. Right? So small lifestyle changes, how to recognize which foods is good for me, it's going to empower me, my energies may be low, I have thyroid issues, maybe I have this diabetes, but lo and behold, through food, much of this is reversible. But we don't know it. We don't know the basics of nutrition. How are we going to be strong worshippers of Allah if we can't control what we're putting in? And then also the movements that we have to do, right? Turning up not only our mind, which connects with our heart, body, soul, but also training, right? What we put in our stomachs to make a complete running and learning exercise. So we're going to be talking about this, and it's extremely important because we become a sick nation. So many sick people, sick hearts, sick bodies, and what are we good for? So we have this 1 p.m. Remember, 1 p.m. Saturday, Dar-Alhijrah. Health. The title is Health, Which Way You Headed. That's it. It's free, you come, and this is something that goes hand in hand with our deen. Because this is a vehicle that's going to get us through life. Right? And the body has what? A right over you. Does it not? So in summary, brothers and sisters, we talked about the great example of these giants who took Islam to China, to India, to North Africa. Because what? Because they understood the deen. They didn't take these ayahs, leave it in a book, put it up on the shelf, and forgot about it. They lived by it. They implemented it. And then they went out and shared. And a few action items: invite your neighbors, have an open house, connect. I got some bumper stickers here, please take it. Put it on your car. Purpose of life. Have you ever wondered? Stimulating thought. Inshallah, you have the right intention. You don't know how this is going to catch up with you on the Day of Judgment. Someone goes, and now they look up, oh, what is this? Deenshow.com. And then we have all of the misconceptions people have. You don't have to do much work. Give it out. People go and look, oh man, I like this. This is nice. Oh yeah. Next thing you know, at the Masjid, and you're like, where did this come from? And the Prophet ﷺ told us, just one person is guided by your efforts, a little bumper sticker, and now all of these good deeds, right? They start praying, they start fasting, and you are a catalyst to make that happen. Allah going to not give you your cut of this, right? Meaning your reward. Brothers, Allah made it easy. So easy to get so many of the good deeds. You don't have to go to China. You don't have to go to North Africa. You don't have to go in your locality, in your neighborhoods, amongst your colleagues at work. Share. Find a way with wisdom, and also be the best examples for people who are morally upright, with good character, good akhlaq. And don't forget to be at the event. Let's spend some more time together Saturday, 1 p.m. Inshallah, you can make it. Because health, which way you headed? And that's summarizing, that's the right our body has over us. So brothers and sisters, I ask Allah to grant us the best. We want the best in this life. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. To grant us, we want the best in this dunya. Right? The Prophet ﷺ didn't come to have us hate this dunya, but to expose it for what it really is, and to take the good from it and to leave the bad. And we want the best from this dunya. Right? And we want Allah to grant us Jannah and forbid us from the hell. عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. Slaves of Allah. Allah commands justice and doing of good to family and to the people. And He forbids all shameful, immoral deeds and oppression and injustice. And He instructs you so you may remember. Remember Allah, and He will remember you. Be thankful to Allah, and He will increase you in your bounty. Seek forgiveness from Allah, and Allah will forgive you. Have taqwa of Allah, and Allah will provide a way out from your issue, from any issue that you might have. Keep salah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Let's tighten up don't leave no gaps for the shaitan to get in between you and your brother. Straighten up the lines, shoulder to shoulder, and pray it as if it's your last breath. Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Malik Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء نحوا سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
Oh my God, you're blowing up. Why the hell would you?
Pick up your yarmulke, take off your fucking your walk in there. Yo, my friend does it all the time. Play for a snack. Yo, today I went to visit the mosque.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Brothers, I'll have the bumper stickers here. If you guys decide to do an open house here, count me in. I'll come. If you invite the neighbors, I'll come and do the presentation. You guys make it happen, and I'm here. For those that don't know, I have some social media. If whoever's on social media, you go to my website, deanshow.com. We're going on 11 years. We have one of the only Islamic TV talk shows in America, dispelling the myths, delivering the message of purpose and peace. Dean Show. Anybody heard of the Dean Show?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Those, mashallah. Those that have it, check us out. Share it. Like it. Follow me. And keep up with us, okay? Thank you guys for having me. And don't forget, Saturday, what time?
1 o'clock.
Where at? You guys know where it's at, right?
2615 was Thorndale.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing you there.
Thorndale, yeah.
Tomorrow, yes, tomorrow, 1 p.m. Get your bumper stickers.
I was dying.
Yeah.